Hi guys, and welcome to Angling For You. And today join me in the fantastic fishing tackle and bait in Doncaster for some top end stuff. Now this today is definitely out the realms of my normal fishing tackle. This is if you want to be the elite of the elite, you want the best products that are out on the market. This is what this video is about. So it's not around a budget gear, it's not around a mid-range, it is about if you've got the money and you're a good angler or you just want the best. That is what today's video is about, and it's the Daiwa AZ AGS waggler and feeder. It is so good. I've looked at both of them. They are amazing bits of engineering, and we'll look at them both obviously closer. Now in fishing tackle and bait, they've got the waggler in, they've got the 11 foot and the 10 foot feeder rods, and they're not cheap. You know, some of them are up to the £600 range, RIP, but fishing tackle and bait will beat any prices you see out there. And what we're going to do first is I'm going to read some stats off firstly to you, and because that's going to be the easiest way, because like I said, this is above the level of anything that I would fish with. So I'm going to read them off, because Daiwa have got a few new wordings and new technologies that they've put into these rods, and then we'll have a little look in close, give them a waggle, give them a bend, and hopefully not damage them, because that's be a really expensive thing to do. So I'm going to read off my purpose made little notes that we've got to the side, and the product information is the highest level of rod technology ever. The torque busting technology of the X45X it not aids in accuracy, is more importantly converts the highest levels of rod energy into your cast. So number one is strength in casting. Now I've picked these up and they bend all the way through. They've got some real clever technology around the reels, and they're so slim. It's just magical. So they combine this wizardry with high volume fibre and morphed together with nanoscale reinforcements throughout the resin, and you get a blank strength performance that is hard to believe, which is not hard to believe when you pick it up, because it just feels astonishing. But we've gone further than that and applied the world exclusive AGS carbon guidelines. The weight is nothing in comparison to metal equivalents, coming from around 70% lighter. So what that's saying is all the guides where the line runs through are all in carbon fibre, which you would expect for the price tag, and the strength obviously that brings and lightness is just awesome. So this delivers two effects: ultralight handling and super quick recovery. Now the recovery is when the bounce on the tip, and it is mega. I've not done it with a feeder yet, but I've picked the waggler up, and the recovery on the waggler is superb. The best sculptured through has been reserved for the handle, and it is amazing ALPS Air Pad reel seat. Skeletal, light, refined, and provides a truly fabulous sense of grip in the hand. Now again, when we look at this up close, it's got a double screw, so it means that when you seat the reel, there's another screw that comes behind it, so it means there's no movement in the reel whatsoever as the rod bends right through to the butt. So there's sometimes a little bit of movement in the reel seating when you've not got a double tightener on, just because of the way that the rod's bending. Obviously there'll be movement. This doesn't happen with this double seat, and we'll have a look at that up in close. Following down, we have crafted an air logo into a section of the Duplon, which means it is possible to be the slimmest profile of any Armlock in cork. This is followed by a short section of Duplon that kicks back up the diameter of the rear, which I'll go into detail, and it is really thin. The range is 4 models, 2 at 10 foot and 11 foot for pellet waggler. Works the 2 and a 13 foot and a 14 foot for mainstream float work. So there is a lot to take in there, and like I said, for me it's just picking the rod and finding the feel. Like I say, I'm a mediocre angler, and I like to bring the whole spectrum of rods and reels and other equipment to everybody that's on this platform, whether it be a budget, whether it be a mid-range, whether it mean a sort of high quality gear, which is now what most of mine is, or the elite gear, which is definitely the branding that this goes into, like the AZ Pro Pole as well, which is obviously at the absolute precipice of what you would spend. So let's flick the camera. Firstly, we're going to have a little look at the waggler, and we'll go through some of those little details in up close first. Then I'll get it out and we can have a little bend and a waggle and see what that looks like. Right guys, so we're having a little look in close and you can see how superb that looks. It's just absolutely beautiful in that carbon fibre. We're just going to move it down to this reel seat. Now you can see that's the normal reel seat that clicks together as you would normally think, and then you would have your normal screw setting that would nip up, and then your reel seat would sit between there, and you would have this one, but the rod bends all the way through. So in order to do that, after time you're playing fish, you're casting, that will come loose or slightly loose with the way the rod bends. So what they've got is this secondary nipper, and it nips up against like that, and it makes it super tight and stops it from slipping, which is just absolutely superb. Now moving on from there, we're going to just put that into shot. Look at how slim this is. The handle is unbelievably slim. I mean, it is ridiculously slim. In fact, I think you could probably just near enough get your little finger all the way around, which is absolutely madness. Now, as you'd imagine, it has a flat point on the cork where it gives you that to settle, and then goes back again to the polyurethane, and it just feels so just lovely in your hand. It's just really thin, slim, really light, but super strong. As you'd imagine, there's a little clip on there to clip on your hook, which is you definitely would expect at this price bracket, and it goes on to the seats of where the seating is just all carbon fibre, which just looks absolutely mint and super strong, super light. And going down to the smaller eyes as well, just all done in carbon, and just so it makes it super light when you're obviously putting the rod together, and that just adds to the strength and the lightness. Let's move a little further back and we'll have a look at the tip and see what the flex is like. Right guys, so you can see you've got the 11-foot wag out, and look, you can see their recovery is insane. That is mental. Hopefully that comes out on the camera, how unbelievably the recovery is on that. And just sort of show you a little bit of the action. I mean, it bends all the way through the rod. It is just amazing. You can almost feel the power when you let go of how it wants to spring back to its original position. It's just amazing, like you'd expect sort of for this money. Comes as 2-piece, again nice and easy to pack away. They don't come with a ready-made rod case, and I know that most people have their hard cases anyway. They come in sort of a soft sleeve with a zip end with everything that goes into pockets. So you know, that is what it is. That's what the price comes with. Let's get out the feeder rod and have a little look at that, because obviously they've got the tips and stuff with that as well. Right guys, so the feeder, now this comes in a few variants. So we've got the 12 to 13 foot, which will have the little section in the side, that is an 80 gram. Then we've got the 10 foot, which is a 40 gram, 11 foot, which is a 50 gram, and a 12 foot that is a 60 gram. So quite a few variants, and they go right up to the most expensive is around 606 quid, right down to about 560 for the 10 footer, which is pretty mental. But what we'll do is we're getting close, we'll have a look at the tips and what the package comes with, and a little bit closer in the rod, and yeah, see what it's got to offer. Right guys, so we've got mega top quiver tips. We're going to go through those first. Now there's one already which is on the rod itself. There's 3 that come in the pack, so this one's obviously an empty case as it's already on the rod itself. Now the one that's on is a 1 ounce with micro guides, so they do a micro guides or big guides depending on obviously what species you're looking for. Now I'm just gonna get this and I'll show you how tiny, and this is how versatile it is, how tiny that tip is. That is micro, really sensitive bites, roach fishing, natural venue fishing, and you see the spring back on it. It's just absolutely ridiculous. And that is what that is, a tiny one that's in there. So that's the micro guides, and most of you guys that are not going to be fishing for carp, you're not really going to use that one. But so, you know, that's a 1 ounce micro guide. Then we have 2 other tips. Now the other 2 tips are a 1.5 ounce and a 2 ounce, but these are in big guides, so I'll get one of those out. In fact, I'll get the 2 ounce one out, and therefore obviously your carp fishing, which is what a lot of people are going to do with this rod. A lot of commercial fishing, you know, big open spaces, water, Barston and things like that. That's where you're going to be using these rods, I would assume. So this one here, you can see the guides a lot bigger, and the strength obviously is a lot different in regards to the tiny micro one. Now they're all made out of carbon. They're not glass. They are carbon guiders again, so just super light and super strong. Not something I've ever seen on a rod before, to be honest, the carbon guiders. I know they're not a new thing. I know that there's probably carp rods and things that have those as well. But yeah, just really well thought out, and as you would expect for the price bracket. So the rod itself, I'm not going to go up in close because that's what we did when we did the other rod. In regards to the outlay, it's exactly the same. So it's got the same system where it's got 2 screws to tighten up the reel seat, to put the reel in, and it's also got the exact same in regards to the handle and the inlays and everything else. What I will do is get a reel off here, if I can find one that we can just slide one off. Let's go with this one. Slide this off and we will put this in the reel seat in front of the camera. We've got an injury. Obviously you're going to be plugging it with a TDR more than likely. If you were to get this rod, that's the kind of thing that you would be using, a TDR or a tournament. But what we're going to do is just show you on the reel seat how to put that together and how the little screw catchers make the difference. So just putting that on, I'll just work off the first ring and then tighten up as you would normally do. Now most rods, this is how it's going to be. It's going to have that original ring and it's going to be nice and strong, but the way that the rod bends, it works this screw backwards. So just to make sure we're extra tight, it's got that double seat, so there's no way that that's going anywhere. It's super strong and seats really well, and it's just literally just going out absolutely nowhere. And for that is a really clever bit of technology. If you're casting big distances, you're catching a lot of fish, when you've got your hands on here, you can sometimes loosen the screw yourself, and whatever you don't want that reel dropping off. And with that double lock system, it's not going nowhere. And the good thing is it's really comfortable to twist and to move, which means like taking it off is really easy, which is what you want. You don't want to be messing about with it, trying to fan about with it. You want it to come on and off really nice and easy. If you wanted to take it to piece, most people, I would assume, wouldn't do that. They would have it in a ready-made rod case, myself included. So what we'll do is we'll zoom it further back and we'll give the rod a little bend over. I will put I think I'll put the stronger tip in there. I might even put the 1.5 ounce in there just to show you, so it's not the ultra sensitive, and see what it looks like. Right guys, so we've got the 10-foot feeder set up. As you can see, it's a lovely bit of kit. It's, as you would imagine, exactly the same in regards to the recovery, the lightness, the strength. Again, carbon around the reinforcements to the guiders. The guiders are made out of carbon fibre. The seats are the dual seats. The handle is so slim, and again with a flat front of your arm, just a quality bit of kit. And as you imagine, again, bends all the way through the rod. Just as you would imagine, just a quality piece of kit. So let's jump on and see the thoughts. Right guys, what's my opinion? Now, we started off in the shop with the Air AGS Z rod, and we looked at the waggler as well, of course, and we went through a little bit around the other rods that are in the range, and I obviously purchased one of them, the 10-foot feeder, which we've seen a few clips dropped in here of the action and how it were going. Is it worth, what, 300 quid more than my Endzone Z? Probably, for me, no. Not really for me. So the question is, why would you buy it? So for me is, you know, it's something different. It's something I've never got, something of elite kind of level stuff before. Yeah, we've got flagship poles and things like that, but there's flagship pole, and then there's Daiwa Air Z Pros, which are a different level again above what I've got, and same with the rods. I want to try it out. It's something I'll be keep for a long time, and for me, like I said before, if you go out a few times and on the RAS, you'll more than compensate for buying this, and I don't do that anymore. So, you know, it's wherever you want to put your money. If you're an elite angler, yeah, I mean, it's worth it to get a little bit of extra advantage. Now, I actually confess that I did find more of a difference than I thought I would do. The Endzone Z is amazing. I love it. It's a great rod. But I did feel the extra strength in casting. I definitely felt the extra strength in the playing action. It was smoother, and it felt strong, and it felt light, although the Z is light also, the Endzone. And for me, the money is well spent in the reel as well. The TDRs are just a cut above in regards to what I use. The Ninjas, I've had TDRs in the past, and you forget how good they are until you use them. For me, double handled all day. But yeah, I mean, this is really aimed at either elite anglers or, you know, top match anglers, or people that just want the best, or want to, like myself, want to try it. I don't prance around with the best of the best stuff. You know, there's people that spend £1,000 or more on boxes, you know, on the Reeve boxes and the Ox boxes and things like that, you know, which is great, you know. And again, I agree. If you want, that's what you want, then pay your money. Absolutely, because they're absolutely great bits of kit. And in this case, I just wanted to try it out for me. And you know what? It is over 600 quid for them both, closer to 7 to be honest, but it's an investment and I'll get plenty of years of joy out of it, and that's what fishing's about. I'm not asking people to buy it, I'm just giving my opinion on it. So if you want what's the very best rod out, that's the very best rod I've ever used, but there is hundreds of rods out there. The MIDI Quartex ones are amazing, the Acolytes are amazing, the Map Parabolics are really good as well. There's so many rods out there for a good price, and do stick to your budget. So hopefully it's give you a little bit of information. It will have an element of controversy around it. It always is when someone spends that much on something, but you know, we're here to try and bring you information non-biasedly, so you know, that it is. So hopefully you'll get what you need out of it, and you know, get yourself down to Fishing Tackle and Bait, and they'll obviously do you a deal and beat any price. So if you're around our area, get yourself over. So if you want to join us on a Facebook group, there's loads of members on there, matches, all sorts of friendly banter on there. If you want to join us on the Instagram @angling_for_you and see what we're doing on there, it's mainly photos and little clips of videos, then join us on there at @angling_for_you. And if you want to see any other playlists and look at anything else we've got going, then go on the YouTube playlist at Angling For You. And until the next one, if you could like, share and subscribe and join the Angling For You family, that'd be fantastic. And I'll see you all soon. Tight lines.